Welcome to my desktop. I'm Henry Pisciotta. I'm the Arts and Architecture Librarian at Penn State University. This little video shows some ways to search for information on a designer. And by that we mean architect, a landscape architect, or a graphic designer. We're going to look at two sources, LionSearch and the British Architectural Library Catalog. But the techniques we use can be used in many other systems, and they can be used for other types of searches. We're going to use the example of Peter Cook. He's a rather well-known architect. Here he is speaking about one of his better-known buildings. And we're going to start by using LionSearch because it's an important tool at Penn State. It's our version of what is usually called discovery layer software. It tries to give you a single place to search for most of the things that the Penn State libraries have to offer, and that includes stuff from about roughly 800 different databases, each of which can have millions of items in them. This is the library's homepage, and these two white search boxes here default to searching LionSearch, so I can type in Peter Cook here, and what I get is displayed for me on this screen for a basic search, and it found about 200,000 journal articles and put them in this box. It found about 200,000 books and media and put them there, and it found 600,000 news and magazine articles. Put them in this box, and then in this box it even tries to find material on our website, which means the web page is written by the librarians. So it finds quite a lot of stuff because it's searching the full text of books and articles whenever it can. This basic search screen usually works fine for quick searches where you just need to find a few items, but with this particular topic we've got a problem here because as you start reading through here, you see this Peter Cook is in the British Medical Library Journal, and he's probably a famous doctor. As you open up some of these others, you find Peter Cooks who are actors and other types of Peter Cooks. We wouldn't have this trouble if our designer's name was less common, perhaps like Zaha Hadid. But dealing with this kind of common name gives us the opportunity to see what types of features you can use to sort of take charge of your search results. So let's use the advanced search screen in LionSearch, and you can get to that here, or if you go back to the library's homepage, it's also offered right here on the homepage, right underneath the search box. If you open that, you get this search form. And there's a lot of interesting features on here. I hope you'll explore them. But I'm going to start out with something simple. That's usually a pretty good policy, and then see what develops. So if we just put in Peter Cook, click on search, we get more than 1 million results, and now we've got all those different media and all those different Peter Cooks all mixed here into one single column. If this was a Google search and we searched Peter Cook, our two choices at this point would be to scroll down and try to figure out which one of these are the right type, or to start a new search by adding some additional search terms, etc. But in LionSearch the approach is different. Here you're offered a great number of ways of refining your search, and they're all over here on the left-hand column. The first ones are ones that are very popular, are used a lot. The second group here are different content types. And then there is publication date, range of publication dates that I could refine the search with. But this is the one that I find the most useful, and that is refining by discipline. And you can see it's offering me 5 disciplines here, but these are only the 5 that have the largest number of hits in the search that we just conducted. So if I click on more, a new column opens up and it can offer me up to 60 different categories that it can distinguish, and one of those is architecture. That is a good one for our topic. Architecture in this category means architecture, landscape architecture, urban design, all of those environmental design things that we're interested in. They're in alphabetical order. I go down to the bottom and there's another good one, visual arts. and that would be the most important one if I'm searching a graphic designer. But I usually click both of them, or because there's a substantial overlap in the kinds of publications. Once I've selected all the categories I'm interested in, I go to the top and click Apply, and then I get a smaller group of results, and these are all pretty close to the topics that we're interested in: various buildings, design project, architecture, drawing, etc. If I was in a hurry or maybe off campus and some reason I don't want to bother with the paper documents in this result list, I could go over to the refined search and click on full text online. Everything then has an orange banner, which means that I can click on it and open it up in just a few minutes. Now there's a problem with our search, and it's a problem that we'll have with most designer names. Most designers don't go by a single name. Often there'll be one or more firm names involved. And with Peter Cook, that turned out to be Archigram, which is the name of the firm that he was involved with when he was first becoming well known. More recently, he's got a new partner, and they've developed the name Crab Studio. And of course, anybody's name could be inverted, there could be middle names, various formats, and it could make a difference in some situations in retrieval. So how did I know all these firm names for Peter Cook? Well, I looked at a brief biography of him that gave me a rundown of his professional career. And there's a variety of ways of finding those, but since we already have some search results here in LionSearch, one easy way for us right now will be to further refine our search by content type. I'm looking for reference as a content type because that's where brief biographies or brief summaries of topics will be in things that are reference books or reference ebooks. So if I click on reference here and click apply, there's a handful of results, and the top one is something called Oxford Art Online, and it gives me a brief summary of his career written by somebody with some credentials, and at the end of it they even recommend his major writings, Peter Cook's major writings, and a reading on Peter Cook that is recommended as a particularly good one. Could come in handy. So once I know all these names, I could do a separate search on each one of the names, the firm names, or I could do a more elaborate search statement where I combine them all in a single search. And to do that, I'm going to need to go back to the advanced search screen in LionSearch and take advantage of more of the features that it has to offer. So I'm going to put Peter Cook. This time I'm going to put it in quotation marks. I think you might know this search feature to get an exact phrase. Let's put in Archigram. We'll add an additional box. We'll put in Crab Studio. And I'm going to add an additional box and even put in Cook, Peter, the inverted form of the name, just to be a little extra careful. Then I need to change the relationship between these boxes from the AND relationship to the OR relationship. It means that I want all of these terms to be treated equally in the relevancy ranking. I want to build one set where they're all weighted equally. Once I've got that, I can click search. And I get about 46,000 items. I get a lot still because we still are searching Peter Cook, the doctor, and all the others. So I can go down to discipline and choose architecture and choose visual arts. And now I've got about 3,000, a little more than 3,000 results, but they all look pretty good. Another strategy in searching for designers is to use a specialized database for art and design. And there are several of those to choose from. To find them, I can go to the library's homepage and take a look at the subject guides. And these are written by librarians such as myself. We put them in different categories here, and under the arts and architecture and music category, we find one for architecture, several other arts topics, one for graphic design, and one for landscape architecture. Those would be the ones to look at for designers. Peter Cook is an architect, so we'll choose that one. Offers a lot of different types of things that could come in handy. And under other architecture databases, it gets into the more specialized databases. And we're going to choose this one, the British Architectural Library Catalog. It has the orange marker on it that means that it's free, it's open access. And one advantage to that is that, after you graduate, you might be in practice somewhere, you may not have access to the kinds of databases that we pay for here at Penn State, but you will have access to the British Architectural Library Catalog. We'll open that up. This is the catalog of the largest architectural library in the world. It covers landscape architecture, urban design, interiors, and other forms of environmental design. Like all library catalogs, it includes descriptions of the books in that library, but this one is a little unusual because it includes descriptions of the individual articles in the magazines. We can combine all of the firm names for Peter Cook using a very, very similar advanced search screen, and we can fill it out in a very similar way. Searching in this kind of specialized database, I can kind of relax my strategy a little bit because I don't need to worry about the concept of limiting by architecture. Everything in here is going to be architecture and design. So I'm even getting a little more casual about how I search Peter Cook. I don't think there'll be much on cooking in here, but we can do a slightly simpler search in this specialized environment. And the kind of results we get are shown here. They're in chronological order, the most recent first, not by relevancy ranking, and it found about 815 titles. Another important difference between searching in a specialized database, at least the ones for design, and a situation like LionSearch or Google, is that here we're not searching the full text of everything. We're only searching what is called metadata. And that means, for instance, if I open up the full record for one of these are the words that we're searching. This is metadata. So the author, the title, they do create a little 3-sentence summary of the article, and they also assign various subject headings to the article. And that's one of the reasons why we get fewer postings, but the postings are often more relevant because of this. So rather than finding the word archigram on one page in a 500-page book, which could happen with full text searching, here some cataloger at that library has decided that this article is partly about archigram. It discusses 2 or 3 topics, and archigram is one of them, and so they've assigned the subject heading archigram. The biggest problem with searching the British Architectural Library Catalog is that it does not contain links back to our holdings here at Penn State. So if I find something that I'm interested in, I could mark it, email it to myself, etc. And then I'll need to check LionSearch, that advanced search screen, to see how to get that particular thing. Going back to our subject guide, under the specialized databases, I might have chosen the Avery Indexed Architectural Periodicals. It has very similar coverage of architectural journals or the articles in magazines. It doesn't include any books, but it does have links back to our holdings that are much easier to use. So, to summarize, we took a look at LionSearch, and we searched Peter Cook and his various firm names and limited to arts disciplines. That was in a full-text searching environment with relevancy ranking, and we found about 3,000 items. We looked at the British Architectural Library Catalog and searched the same kinds of terms, this time searching only metadata, and we got a chronological list of about 800 items with probably a higher degree of relevance. On the way, we saw some short bios for firm names, and we took a look at the subject guides for each discipline. Please contact us in the libraries if you think there might be any way that we can help you with your work. There usually is, and we're usually very glad to do it.